Okay, great. Fine. So I was wondering which batch I am going to teach in BDA this time, and I guess we are together once again, right? So time is running very fast. I guess which subject I taught you last time? SE. Okay, and now it's BDA, right? So you have uh, come to seventh sem, right? A mature BTech students now. So we were considering you very in your early days. We were feeling. I guess there are very less people yet. The time is 1:25, right? Lecture time is 1:25. Okay. 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 Fine. From some profile pictures, I could recall your batch actually. Otherwise, from name, it would have been little difficult, right? Anyways, so happy to see you all again. So we are going to start with the very booming subject this time, right? It is little difficult to teach SE, and you all must be knowing the reason, right? But BDA is a fun, right? And because it is very much booming, and people are talking about data science and analytics, data analytics, and their packages a lot. So even as a student, people are more attracted towards this particular subject. So maybe that is the reason I like to teach BDA a lot comparison if I do with some other subject, right? So is this your regular strength of a class? I assume we have average around 140, 150 students in the class. So, okay, this is your regular strength. Okay, fine. So, all of you are excited to learn BDA? Fine. So, we will be interactive at least for this particular lecture, right? You can also unmute and talk to me, right? So that is okay at least for this lecture, because we'll start with the very basic concepts, right? We should be knowing why we are learning the subject, only then we are interested, right? So we'll go slowly, and we would digest everything first about big data analytics, and then we'll proceed towards the difficult things in BDA as well. Not so difficult, but compared to other technologies, right? Working with BDA is little trickier. We try to keep it as simple as possible, right? So, from next lecture onwards, I would like every one of you to have a proper display name, right? Of course, most of you have given proper display name, but some of you have used underscore in between CE and number, right? Which is majority of you have not used. So I assume the display name is CE roll number and then hyphen and then your full name. This must be the display name, right? As per the instruction. So from next lecture onwards, we'll follow it very strictly, right? So CE, let's say 142 and then hyphen and then the full name, right? So that I get everyone's name in the sequence. Right now I'm not able to get proper sequence. Some of you have used space in between, right? So we'll follow the proper naming convention, right? Okay, so what is the full form of the subject? We are going to learn BDA. I assume all of you know this, right? But what is the full form of the subject? BDA, Big Data Analytics, exactly. Yes. So I assume when I will check your papers, I will get correct subject name at least, right? Because people are coming again with different subject names as well. So it is Big Data Analytics, the subject which we are going to learn, right? Fine. So let me check some background that you have about the subject, right? And then we'll go with some case studies as well, right? So the name says Big Data Analytics, right? And why we call it, we all know what is data, right? So that we are very much comfortable with. Is there anyone who would like to know the difference between data, information, and knowledge? This is the very, very, very important and crucial and the basic question that anyone would ask you in interviews, right? If you have learned the subject. So, what is anyone would like to answer the difference between data, information, and knowledge? Okay. Uh, Let me just explain in brief. So, see, when you entered into BTech, right, you started with learning C language, right? And when there was input output related learning in C, you used to take a text file and you used to write some data in that text file, and then you used to read it from your C program, right? Isn't it? We have done this or not? Right? And then the time came where we had been introduced to some more better technologies for storing and manipulating data. So then came DBMS into picture. So previously you started with flat files, right? And then we moved to database management systems, right? So where we used to have a database, and then one database contains a set of tables, right? And then there were some relationships among these tables, right? So the primary key, foreign key relationships, and everything we have learned, right? So then there was this subject. Now we have been little more matured, and it is not only about DBMS that is going to be the most basic thing, right? If we talk about this particular subject, right? So in this subject, it is not only, see, we till the impression that you all might be having in your mind about a data, that it must be in the database, right? Is this the impression? In real world projects, right, when we are working, we used to think about front end and back end only, right? Front end is our code, and then that's where we write our programming language code and we make our softwares. And in back end, what do you have? Your database, right? So that's the impression that we used to have, right? But these days the scenario is changed, right? And it is not only about a database now. So database is going to be one source of data that we are going to deal with, and this one source that we have studied is the most um, structured and the best data. And again, when I say best data, the most structured data, it is the rarest data, right? So, what does it mean? I'm saying it is rare. So, this means that we are not only going to face the uh, structured data that you have learned in database like MySQL and SQL Server and lot of databases you must be knowing, right? So that is not the only type of data that we are going to deal with now, right? You will have your data in very different files and formats. So basically, it is a heterogeneous data that you are going to deal with, right? So please place yourself at a position of a data scientist or as a data analyst now, right? Put yourself at in the shoes of those people, and only then you will be able to learn this subject. You need a very, very, very wider view, right, to learn this particular subject. So a traditional software engineer's package and data analyst or data scientist's package, you must be knowing the difference. What is the difference? You can put it into a chat box, or you can unmute and answer as well. I don't want the exact figure, but who gets higher package? Software developer or a data scientist? Yes, very good, right? So at least you know this. So data scientist or data analysts, of course, is paid much more higher than the traditional software developer. So this means that it is not only the structured data and the front end back end on which we are going to work. Now we have to develop a very, very, very wider view and um, uh, larger view about a data, right? So that is where big data will come into picture. So of course we'll go with the traditional definitions and all soon, but I just want to clear your brain about uh, what we are going to talk in this particular subject, right? So please come out of that mentality that you are going to be a software developer who has to develop front end and back end. No, that is not the case, right? You have lots and lots of opportunity to go beyond this. And these days the industry is booming, right? Even in COVID there is no I would say bad news in IT industries at least, right? So data scientists and data analysts, the opportunities are still there, right? The only thing is you need to grab those opportunities and you need to be competent with them, right? So there are many tools and technologies that we are going to learn in this subject as well, right? So yes, I was talking about data. So I would of course put some more efforts in explaining you what kind of data you are going to deal with, because that is what will make you a good data analyst, right? So please don't expect now onwards that whenever I tell you to do some analysis on data, it is always going to be a structured data. No, that is not the case, right? So the data that you are going to face, structured data is one of them, right? And that is, of course, a very small portion of the data is going to be structured, but otherwise, you are going to face most of the unstructured data. So it may be there in the flat files, it may be there in some web forms where you have got some inputs from the uh, end user. So those web forms were developed using Google Forms, so you have the responses in Google Sheet, so that also is your data. So basically it can be any, you think of source and it is a part of a source in your big data analytics, right? So this is a very crucial difference. Now I'm coming back to my question once again. What is the difference? I would come to knowledge later on. Right now I'm just focusing on data and information. So can someone tell me what is the difference between data and information? Okay. So I'm getting a lot of answers here, and very relevant answers, right? So basically, let me put this thing into example. When I talk about some organization, right? An organization would have many employees working in it, right? So when I talk about a specific employee, right? You might have employee database or employee table in which there are a lot of fields available like employee ID, employee name, employee salary, joining date, birthday, and etc. Right? So, when a new employee enters into the organization, its data gets fed into the database. So, this is a raw data, right? We are talking about right now. I'm talking about structured one because you are familiar with structured one, right? It can be unstructured as well, but I hope it is clear. So the raw data I'm talking about, that what is the name of this employee, what is his or her birth date, what is the joining date of the employee, what is the salary that this employee is getting. So these are raw data basically, right? And when someone asks about information, right, from data, if you are able to derive something, that becomes information, right? Like let's say I just want to check that how many employees in my organization are getting more than 50,000 salary. So let's say I have 100 such employees, right, whose salary is beyond 50,000. So this is information, right? So I had raw data in my database. I have fired a query, right? That whose salary is greater than 50,000. I just want the count of those employees, and I just came to know that there are 100 employees who are getting paid more than 50,000. So this is information that I have get from the from the raw data. So this is the difference between data and information, right? So everyone is clear what is the difference between data and information? Great. See, many times there are the boundary between data and information is a very vague boundary. So it's not that only this is the difference between data and information. Many times some people would argue that okay, when you put things into a tabular format which someone can read properly and can let's say I just want to see the employee ID 10, whoever employee has employee ID 10, I just want his or her information. I would just go to the database and there was everything mentioned in a very well structured and tabular manner. So just opening the table and reading employee ID 10's information, that is also information. So it's not that only firing a query and getting the result is information. No, if you are reading a table of employee and if you are able to fetch some information visually also, that is also information, right? So this is the difference between so raw data and information. The crucial difference is when raw data is the data about an employee. When you put it into a structured manner, in a filtered way, if you get something, it becomes an information, right? So this is the difference between data and information. Now I'm talking, so this you know very well, right? Now I'm talking about something more, and that is about knowledge, right? So this is a very important thing that we would like to understand, right? So what is knowledge? Any guesses on this or any answers on this? Okay, there are two answers. Anyone else? What do we mean by knowledge here? Okay, fine. So let me just so answers are little near, but not exactly. I guess Saurav's answer is little more near to what I'm going to tell about knowledge. So I would like to explain you knowledge. See, explaining you this is little tricky without example, right? So I'm just taking an example. Imagine that you are the CEO of some manufacturing industry, right? I repeat, imagine you are the CEO of some manufacturing industry and you have your branches available in Bangalore, at Pune, at Ahmedabad, at Bombay, right? Let's keep it uh, simple. These four cities, right? Bangalore, Pune, Ahmedabad, and Bombay. These are four cities that you have branch in. So you are the CEO of some manufacturing industry, and your industry is manufacturing lot of products, right? And these are the four branches. Now, at all four branches, lot of data is getting generated. At all four branches, you would have uh, lot of digital data available, right? And as a CEO, you would like to find out that, let's say, my company is manufacturing 10 different products. Then, from these 10 different products, which product gives me highest profit? Let's say you want to find it out. What would you do as a CEO? What would you do as a CEO to find this out? That my company is making highest profit on which particular product? Yes, exactly. So Hardik is saying that study sales report. Rishil is saying that take information from all branches and find the total and compare. Anyone else? Okay, so product profits and obtained. Okay, so let me tell you that of course your answers are uh, correct, but do you think that this is possible practically? No, right? Why I'm saying why it is practically not possible. Let's say at one branch, the at one point of time, because we have learned database management system, we would feel like it is so easy. We would just write some intelligent query and we can find it out, right? Probably yes, because the knowledge that I am asking you is not a very tough thing to identify. But still, practically, if we see, let's say Ahmedabad branch, they are all working on Linux and using a very different database. Whereas the Bangalore branch, they are probably working on again a different platforms and different databases, right? So let's say at one place they are using MySQL, at another place they are using SQL Server, at third place they are using, let's say, MongoDB, at fourth place, let's say, they are using Cassandra. These are databases only which you are going to learn, right? So these are different databases, right, where the data is getting stored. So basically absolutely heterogeneous environment is there, right? And Right now I've just talked about four branches, but when we talk about MNCs, right, which are multinational companies, right, which are running their industries across the globe, right, at that time finding such things is not very straight away job, right? So the data is there, of course, right? Ahmedabad branch is doing well and storing all data. Even Bangalore branch is doing it. Even Pune branch and Bombay branch is also doing it. But data is there. Getting information is also little easy, but getting knowledge from it is little tricky, right? Why? Due to lot of challenges, right? That we face practically, right? So knowledge is extracting some hidden patterns in the data. Knowledge is extracting some hidden information in the data which is not available straight away, right? So this is what we mean by knowledge, and it helps us in doing all sort of decision making, right? So the most important concern about knowledge is it helps us in decision making, and these decisions are the decisions which are going to be taken by the higher authority people like CEO and all, right? So it's not so basically imagine a case when someone did a mistake, and instead of product A, they said that product C is the product which gives you highest profit. So then as a CEO, what you will do, you will just blindly follow your system and you would say, okay, product C is giving me more profit. Let me invest more in product C itself. And you can imagine a case, actually it was product A that was giving you much more profit compared to C. So how drastically it can affect your profits of the organization, right, if you do mistakes. So basically big data analytics is something where you cannot commit mistakes, right? So it is something where you cannot do mistakes in extracting knowledge. So everything has to be very much accurate here, right? Otherwise the wrong decision making can lead an organization suffer a lot financially as well as from lot of other perspectives, right? So that is why we would be very much precise when we are learning big data analytics. I hope everyone is with me till now. So the difference between data, information, and knowledge is clear to each one of you now. If you have any doubt till now, please do ask, right? So that I can proceed accordingly. So seems lot of yes. So I think people are clear about data, information, and knowledge, right? So that's the basic difference which you must be knowing when you are learning this particular subject, right? Next thing is big data. What is big data, right? Why we call it big data? Any idea what is big data? Okay, Rishil is saying lots of data. Yes. So again, one more difference between your previous subject. See, when I say previous subject, because I am teaching big data analytics, I'll only talk about the subject which is related to data, and that's DBMS, right? So your database management subject, you may have worked on MySQL and SQL Server, right? Do you know the scalability of these softwares? Can I store big data in it? So the answer is no, right? So we have about data storing, we have just assumed that the data can be stored in such database management systems, right? But that is not the only way of storing data, right? Because when I talk about big data, again, there is a formal definition given for big data, which we will talk about soon. There are some V's associated with it. So we'll talk about that as well. But right now, for your understanding, please understand whenever I use a term big data, I'm not talking about data in KBs, MBs, or GBs, right? We will always talk about terabytes of data, petabytes of data, hexabytes of data, right? So, we are basically talking about millions and billions of records, right? So this is why it is called big data, right? So the formal definitions and all, of course, we'll talk about it later on. But whenever I use a term big data, please understand I'm not talking about the basic one, right? We are always we'll have to think about petabytes of data, terabytes of data, right? So we'll talk in terms of TBs, and again these units are will also be explained to you in the future lectures, right? So after GB we have terabytes and petabytes. So the ladder is there, which we will go through probably in the next 2 or 3 lecture, right? So in this subject, whenever I say data, you have to think that it is not small data, it is big data only, right? So petabytes of data, billions and millions of records we are going to deal with. Right? So that is why it is called big data. Now, one more interesting fact or the difference I would like to go for is you are also learning machine learning here in this semester. You are also learning machine learning. Yes, great. So can you relate this? What is the relationship of big data analytics and machine learning? You can just try to imagine or try to guess something. What is the relationship between big data analytics and machine learning? Or if not machine learning and big data relationship, if you can at least mention what is machine learning. Big data analytics we'll talk later. What is machine learning? Okay, so there are some answers. Good. So basically, machine learning, before this, I don't know you know this or not, but big data analytics has just come before 2 years. Before that, there was a subject called knowledge discovery. We used to call it KD in short, right? So, knowledge discovery was a subject. Now, it was all about analyzing the data and trying to fetch the important knowledge from it, right? So that was all about KD. That was all about data knowledge discovery, and it some universities used to call it data mining as well, right? So data mining, data warehousing. So that was the subject before 2 years. Only since 2 years or 3 years, we have these two separate subjects, right? That is machine learning and big data analytics. So, machine learning, I guess you are able to uh, answer it correctly. Maybe one lecture has been done on machine learning. Great. So, machine learning is about analyzing the past data and uh, trying to build some rules or some models, checking its accuracy, the accuracy of a model on some different data again. So there is a training data set, there is a testing data set. So using training data set, we would like to train our model, and then whether what is the accuracy of this model, can we trust this model blindly? No, we'll have to check its accuracy as well. So on test data, we will try to check its accuracy. So we'll see that for this test data, was it what was the accuracy? 60%, 70%, right? If it has a reasonable accuracy, then we can use it to predict future data as well, right? So that is all about machine learning. So basically, whenever you come to this particular term called machine learning, it is all about, and how do we do this, right? So there are a lot of intelligent algorithms in machine learning that you are going to learn: decision tree induction and support vector machine, and there are some algorithms which are based on neural networks, right? There is this genetic algorithms which is not there in your syllabus, but just for your reference. So basically, whenever it comes about machine learning, it is basically all about this intelligent algorithms, learning of this intelligent algorithm. Now, can you now? So now, because you know what do we mean by machine learning, can you relate it with the big data analytics? Yes. So ML is all about intelligent algorithms, right? But any algorithm, right? Whenever you see, you must be knowing, you have learned algorithms, right? So algorithms, what are algorithms? They are steps, right? They are actually coded into some programming language. So that is your code actually. But you need data or not? On which data you will run this algorithm? You need some data, right? So basically, these intelligent algorithms we are going to run on big data. Are you able to relate now? These smart and intelligent algorithms, we are going to apply it on the big data, and together all the see big data, explaining big data is not so easy, right? Especially to the undergraduate students when they have not at all worked in any industries yet, right? I'm trying my best, right? So if you have any doubt, any confusions, any queries, please do ask, right? But this difference has to be very much clear. So basically, all those intelligent algorithms you are learning in machine learning, implementing them in some programming. See, of course, there are a lot of packages available in Python and some R programming languages there. Python is there, and there are a lot of other libraries available where these intelligent algorithms are already implemented, but still lot of research is going on to develop some new intelligent algorithms, right? So machine learning is all about these intelligent algorithms, but uh, applying it on some millions and billions of records, applying it on terabytes and petabytes of data, it requires it would have its own challenges. So together, it is a big data analytics that we call. So I hope you are able to understand what do I mean by big data analytics. So big data, you know, right? Lots of data. That is what we mean by big data. And then analytics is analyzing this huge amount of data using what? Using those intelligent algorithms, right? So there are a lot of tools and technologies, there are a lot of softwares, packages, libraries, APIs available using which you can do this job, right? But I want each one of you to be very much clear about big data and big data analytics and machine learning. So I hope all of you are with me till now. Great. So if you have a very small single doubt, please do ask, huh? Because this difference has to be very much clear, right? We cannot proceed further without this. Okay. So by now you all are on same platform, right? And we have learned what is big data analytics. So talking about the subject here, what we are going to study, you would say that intelligent algorithms we are already going to learn in machine learning. Yes. So are we going to learn again it in this subject? No. Right? So machine learning, you can say, is a part of big data analytics. Big data analytics has a lot of wider scope, right? So machine learning is limited to those intelligent. Of course, we should not say limited, but I'm just explaining you in terms of the boundaries, right? So machine learning is mainly talking about this intelligent algorithm. So previously, I used to teach KD, so knowledge discovery subject. So then I used to teach them these algorithms mostly, but with that we used to teach them data processing as well, data warehousing as well, because then there was no big data analytics and there was no machine learning, right? So that would have been there in MNCs, right? But it was not introduced in the syllabus at that time. So then it was KD. But with time, the digital data is getting increased day by day, and then there was a lot of scope of analyzing it, and there were a lot of market opportunities which can be generated if we analyze it properly, right? So then KD got divided, or data mining and warehousing. DWDM is also a name which is given by some university. So that then got divided into two subjects in our university. So that one of them is machine learning and the second one is big data analytics. So in machine learning, you are going to study all those intelligent algorithms, and in big data analytics, you are going to study basically the latest technologies using which you can do big data analytics, right? So Hadoop, have you heard of Hadoop? Hadoop, MapReduce. Have you heard of these terms? Okay. So few students are answering yes. So maybe majority of us, I guess this might be a new word, and it is possible that you may have heard it, but you don't know anything about it. So that's what we are going to learn. So Hadoop MapReduce is one framework using which you can do so. And see, please understand that that Hadoop, MapReduce, Cassandra, Spark, Apache Spark, everything we are going to study in this subject. So you'll have to from in the first lecture on itself. I am just giving you some suggestions, right? These are generous suggestions from my side, right? Of course, it is you. It is up to you whether you want to follow it or not, right? If you will be with us in lab sessions and lecture sessions, it would be quite easy for you. But otherwise, lot of universities, for the sake of offering the subject, they are offering it, right? But implementation of the subject is not so easy for all the universities, right? Um, im- Installing Hadoop itself is a task. Not all, not everyone can do it straight away, right? Someone can do it in 2 hours, someone can do it in 2 days, someone can do it in 20 days, someone might take 50 days and will not be able to do it. So, of course, these days there are a lot of YouTube videos and lot of uh, um, material is available on internet. So these days it has been little easy, but before this, before 2 years, when this subject was introduced, the installation of Hadoop itself was a big task for all of us, right? So um, uh, we will be mostly going with Linux, and also I would recommend each one of you to have at least a Linux machine. Of course, it can be done in Windows, but mostly when you will go to industries, you will have this environment only. So we would like to make you familiar with the environment which you are going to face in industries. So um, Hadoop, MapReduce, and all the later on softwares that I talked about, we will basically um, try to implement in Linux, right? Now you will say that I have Windows laptop. What should I do? Should I make it dual boot? It is up to you. You can make it dual boot, right? You can install CentOS. If you don't want to do this, what I do for my laptop is I have installed Oracle Virtual Manager. I hope you know this. VirtualBox is known to everyone. Oracle VirtualBox. Great. So you can just install. So some of you, anyone has done already, anyone has already Oracle VirtualBox installed? Yes. Okay. Manan is saying yes. Fine. So if you don't have, that's okay. You can just install it. Installation of Oracle VirtualBox is very straightaway job. You can just watch a video and install it, right? So what it does, it actually gives you uh, the chance to have Linux platform. You can install, of course, any operating system, because I'm talking about CentOS because we are going to work with Linux, right? So um, in Oracle VirtualBox, you can create different machines, right? So in Windows platform, you can install Oracle VirtualBox and create one machine where CentOS is there, right? And how to have a CentOS machine in Oracle VirtualBox, for that also you can watch a video. It's there on YouTube, right? So once you have it ready, we will be going with the installation of Hadoop and all, right? So you will have to keep this thing ready. even for lab sessions. I don't know what environment Jigar sir will be supporting. Different people are comfortable with different things, right? So personally, I am going with this particular thing when we used to have online teaching last year, right? So you please check what is convenient for you. Accordingly, have the setups ready so that whenever a faculty says, you can just straight away go with the installation and you can just focus on the technology instead of focusing on Windows and Linux, right? So that's one thing that I would like to mention. So that is about basically a lab session. So these are various tools and technologies that we are going to study. Now, understanding them itself would require, so we are going to spend an entire session on Hadoop and MapReduce. So it's that big technology, right? We are going to spend one entire session on Cassandra. We are going to spend an entire session on Apache Spark, right? So they are that large syllabus that we have about those things, right? So uh, if you will parallelly work with us, if you have Hadoop and MapReduce already installed in your laptop, then probably you will enjoy more rather than not having it and just seeing what I'm showing to you. Probably with time the interest will get degraded, but if you will be with us, probably you will enjoy it more, right? So that is a suggestion that you should always go with the faculty members, right? So just have these setups ready. So that is about the syllabus. So basically, I'm just talking about my portion. So we are going to talk about various types of data and then what is the difference between OLTP and OLAP, and then we'll go with Hadoop MapReduce, and it is more about distributed environment these days. Yes, one more very interesting thing I would like to mention about big data analytics is a nice case study. I don't know what is the end time of the lecture because of the new timetable. I don't remember when the lecture ends. Anyone can tell me? Oh, so we are already at end. Okay. Fine. So there are a lot of interesting case studies which I wanted to share, but anyways, we are running out of time. So we will talk about the case studies in the next class for sure, and I'm sure they are going to be very much interesting case studies, right? So few of them we are also facing it in our day-to-day life, right? So ignorantly we are already part of big data analytics, right? So we'll always go with those case studies. So fine, that's where we can end today. And next lecture we'll start with some syllabus and some case studies. So fine, have a nice day.